Sure, the city pool is calling and you should go. But if you're a student tech or director who wants to show up stronger this fall, there's more you can do this summer than just sleep in and watch tech TikToks. This episode is your summer game plan. All right. So it's summer. The city pool is open, your show's been struck, your headset's probably still in your backpack. And if you're a student tech, chances are good that no one's asked you to coil a cable in at least a week. And honestly, that's a beautiful thing. Welcome to Soundstage EDU, where we care deeply about two things. One, raising the bar in school theater tech, and two, preventing headset-induced burnout before age 17. I'm your host, Mike, production nerd, accidental mentor, and, according to my own children, the official fun killer of summer vacation. And hey, they're not totally wrong. I'm the guy who looks at a slip and slide and sees a safety hazard. The guy who brought a clipboard to a birthday party once. But here's the thing. I care. In my own special way. And that's exactly why we're doing this episode. This is our first long format solo cast episode. I have some notes here, but no real start and stop on this one. And if you know me, you know that once I get talking about something that I'm passionate about, it's hard to get me to shut up. But I promise you that we will have guests real soon and get some real world dialogue going in short order. So let's talk about summer slumps. Those are real, but they don't have to be. Today we want to talk about how student techs and their directors, mentors, and educators can use summertime as a time for growth, preparation, and resetting without falling into the dreaded void of, wait, how does the soundboard work again when August rolls around? And trust me, you know what I'm talking about. Both techs and directors. We've all been there. You walk away for a long enough period of time, you come back and it's like you forgot how everything works. Now, let me be clear. You deserve rest. You are allowed, no, actually encouraged to be a kid. Sleep in, go to the pool, touch the grass, watch garbage TV, eat the whole bag of Doritos. I'm not here to steal your summer joy and replace it with spreadsheets and Sure manuals. Although I can, if you ask, I can find plenty of things for you to do. But I'm here to gently suggest that in between your popsicles and TikTok scrolls, there's some really cool things you can be doing to stay sharp and even have fun doing it. I mean, my summers shaped who I became. They shaped who I am. I mean, it wasn't temporary. The things I did in the summer were very instrumental in making me the person I am today. And the same thing applies to you guys. If you ignore it, you'll just become a robot like everyone else in our society, and that's not what we need more of. We need more creativity. We need more uniqueness. We need more of you. Not some idea, some ideal personality, some perfect automaton, if you will. Hope that makes sense. I mean, my summers, I was raised in the 80s and 90s. Yes, the 1900s. But the times were different then. We would go outside. We would roll in the dirt. We would get scrapes on our knees. We would find who we were. It was like survival camp every day of our lives. And this is not because our parents neglected us. It's just that's how we chose to live. We would go out there and explore and grow and find out who we were. During those times, I was entrenched in music education. I wasn't necessarily the theater kid, even though I'm the theater kid now. But growing up, I was the band kid. That's what I did. That was my fine art. I participated in drum and bugle corps, DCI, those over-the-top, cream of the crop type of marching organizations. I was there with them. I was in an open class top 25 group. I'm not going to get into specifics here, but I was pretty successful doing it. I played with some championship level people and we did championship level things. And I discovered a lot about myself during that period. Things that you need to be doing as a kid, as a growing artist. You need to cultivate those things inside of you, whatever it may be. And we're going to discuss some of those. But that was me. I was in drum corps. And then we had band camp. Everybody knows about band camp. They've made movies about it. There's cultural things that are said about band camp. I was there. And then because I was in the drumline, I was in drumline camp. And because there's no life without camping, we did regular camping with animals while, you guessed it, dragging my drum pad around with me. I was drumming in the woods. I was drumming by the river. Drove my parents nuts. But hey, it shaped me. It shaped my discipline. It shaped my desire to improve. Same thing here. What can we do during the summer to not fall into that summer slump, but to have a period of growth, of expansion, of enhancing our skill set and coming back sharper than when we left at the peak of our season? So, student techs, what do you do when the headset is off? I mean, let's definitely start there. Since this is student focused, let's start with you guys. The glue, the ghosts, the gaff tape goblins that keep these shows running. I mean, that becomes our identity, our life for the better part of a year. And then summer comes and we just go feral and lose our minds. And you know what? I get that. There is not I don't even know how to say this. I'm not sure I want to say this, but there is not a normal production crew that I've ever been a part of. We're all different. And that's okay. We accept that. We sometimes come with warnings. You know what I mean? We have a new person get introduced and I have to warn them about us. Hey, watch out for these guys. They're a bit feral. And you know what? We understand that when we see tech people. That's what we expect. And it's okay to embrace that and be that. But let's find some refinement in what we do. Let's stand out. Let's help change the culture. And that can all start with a little bit of organization, documentation, and just reflection on what it is you do. So I'm going to encourage you students, number one, I'm giving you bullet points. Number one, start a tech journal or portfolio. I had a student that I was working with last year that was always working on their portfolio. They weren't even sure they wanted to pursue production or theater for a career, but they still kept the portfolio because they were very invested in the moment. Invested in, what can I do now? What can I do to prove my worth now? Now, let me step back a moment. I'm not saying any of you guys need to prove anything. But you do need to understand your worth to make this worthwhile for you. So a tech journal or a portfolio. This can be a Google Doc, a notebook, you know, with the paper and the rings and stuff, or a full-blown spreadsheet if you're extra, like me. Or like a guest speaker that I encountered the other day who presented at our company training. And he had us do a scrapbook page. He started his presentation with the scrapbook. Like, this is me. This is where I came from. This is where I've gone. And this is where I'm at. And this is where I hope to go. I think that would apply here. I'm not exactly sure how. Maybe we can discuss that later. Maybe we can have a discussion in comments about how can a scrapbook page really help us see and visualize what it is that we're trying to do. And I'm going to stop for a second there to visualize. What do we do in theater? We create a visual representation of a story. We bring it to life. So maybe that'll help you see your path better, is to visualize things. You need to find the type of learner that you are, because there are many different types, but get in touch with that. That's for you to reflect on. So write down what shows you've worked on, what you learned, what went wrong, what you do differently next time. Think of it like a diary, but with mic plots and cue sheets, which is way cooler, right? Right? I mean, at least I think it is. But a diary. Think back. Just take a day and sit back and reflect on what you've done for the past 2, 3, 4 years. Write it down. Now, it's going to seem silly to go write these notes down because what do they serve now? Especially if you think, well, I'm going to be done with school in a year. You never know where you're going to go after this. Trust me. I never thought I'd be here, but here I am. In my line of work, at my company specifically, we are all asked to complete a document that we call post-show notes. Sometimes it's brief. I mean, you don't have much to put in there because everything went well. Sometimes it's an absolute novel because things did not go well, or they did not go as well as they should have. I'm not asking that you write a novel here, but some post-show notes will help you in the future. It will point out patterns in your process or patterns in the process of the people that you work with, things you can actively work to fix. I promise you, we all have plenty we can say here that needs to be worked on or that needs a fix. So just reflect on it for a bit and write that stuff down. Maybe you'll see things emerge that you never really considered or never thought of being an issue until you sat there and looked at it written down on a piece of paper. It can be really eye-opening. So post-show notes. And this just came to mind. Those of you working in high schools, those of you students in high schools that are going to leave a legacy. Sounds funny when you're 16, 17 years old, but you might leave a legacy for the people that are coming up behind you. Those notes could be very instrumental to them. They can see what might have gone wrong, or which you thought might have been better, or which you considered for a fix for something. And when it happens again, it may not be the same show, but when it happens again, they can be like, hey, they had this problem back here, and this is what you thought might fix it. Let's try that. Maybe you've got some ideas that others haven't thought about, and you're just afraid to put it down. Write it down. This is a collaborative work. This is collaborative effort. We all need one another to make this the production that we need it to be. It takes a village. So that was number 1. Now number 2, your second bullet point. You're going to like this one. Watch theater tech YouTubes or TikToks. I say YouTube because YouTube is much easier to search and you're not being slave to an algorithm. But as you know, YouTube is free and it is filled with so much gold. Look up how to program a light board, beginner sound design, stage manager hacks, things like that. Things that speak to you, things that you may want to know. How to put on a wireless mic. Or I had a student not too long ago come to me because they were excited that they found a whole series of videos on how to do theater miking on a Broadway level. And not really Broadway level. This is stuff you should be doing in high schools, but they learned how to do hairline mics. And they showed up with plastic hair rigs and everything. It was great. They took the initiative. But do things like that during your off time. Watch videos. 1 video a week. That's it. I mean, do as much as you want, but 1 video a week. Put it at that. Do 1 video a week and you will learn a lot. Because that's how we all learn. Maybe you'll learn how to EQ a room. Or, I mean, there's just, the possibilities are endless here, and you know that. So use that resource. And here's a bonus for you. You can call it homework next time someone says you're on your phone too much. And believe me, that works. I've gotten on to my operators several times about always being on their phones. I know this is a problem we all have, but I would see them on their phones as they walk through an active warehouse. Sometimes while during downtime in a show. I would get upset because I feel they needed to be paying a better attention to what was going on. Not only for the show and the production, but also because our clients are sometimes walking around the room. And most of the time, when I would get on to them, they were taking that down moment to actually learn something or make something better in our current production, or they were looking for a solution to a problem. Just be mindful of who may be watching and abide by the rules that you have in place for your group. Every group's different. Every venue's different. Every theater's different. Every production house is different. But learn those rules and abide by them. So, number 3, volunteer for a summer production. Community theaters, summer camps, church musicals, they always need help. And I just had another alien brainwave, but more on that in a second. But even if you're just sweeping or running cables, you're watching someone else's process. And trust me, learning how other people run a show or how they don't is wildly valuable. You need all the perspectives that you can get. Now, back to that alien brainwave. Churches. I live in the Midwest. This podcast is originating out of the Midwest. Logic dictates that the majority of my audience is going to be coming from this region. Mostly because this is completely a grassroots effort. There's no marketing budget or anything like that at the moment. So it's going to be strictly word of mouth, and word of mouth is going to not travel much further out of the Midwest. But the Midwest, tons of churches. And they always need, or are looking for help. It's a place to learn things you will not learn in the theater. You will also get to go hands-on with equipment you will likely not see in theaters or smaller production houses. You might encounter some equipment you will never see because it is so astronomically expensive. Some of these big churches are truly top of the line when it comes to production value. They spare no expense. And there's so much to learn there. And that is compensation enough. Don't go there looking for a job. Go there looking for an opportunity to learn and to help. Just don't fall into the trap of being, oh, we got someone, now you're going to stay here. Be careful of that. That's my caveat for that. But with that high tier gear will also be high tier operators, or at least somebody that has learned an awful lot about a very expensive and very complex piece of gear, and they can give you a lot of knowledge for you to glean from. So find something like that to do over the summer. It's because we just talked about a church, I'm going to say it's like a baptism by fire, because it is, because they are fast and furious. They demand perfection. And, maybe we'll talk about perfectionism in a future episode, because I just went through a training about perfectionism and learned some things that I need to change. So, anywho, moving on to number 4, pick one new skill to explore. Write that down. Pick one new skill to explore. Do not be a one-trick pony. So that could be QLab, light programming, lighting design, wireless mic basics, RF management, cable types. Pick one lane and go deep for a few weeks. You don't need to become an expert. Just dip a toe in. And this is that initiative thing again. Show some initiative. Show some desire to learn something else. Get your mentor's attention. Get my attention by wanting to go out there and learn something new and spreading your wings a little bit and hopping out of that nest and learning something totally different. Learn something that no one expected you to learn. And you'll find out that you don't have to do too much to be considered an expert in anything in this arena. If you find something new and innovative and you understand it, go for it. Learn it. And then also read a manual if you can. Ask your theater director if there's some manuals that you can take home to read. I worked with a guy several years back that learned exclusively that way. And he is now, fast forward, 10, 15 years, he's now one of the most talented and sought after engineers in the region. And he didn't go to school for it. He didn't go to vocational school. He didn't join a program. He just learned on his own from reading manuals. And this guy, I like to hire him all the time. He's just a pricey guy because he knows so much, but I can trust that I can ask him to do anything. And if he says, yes, I can do that, that means he absolutely can. That's what happens. That's what happens when you explore skills on your own. And that brings me to number 5. Shadow a pro. or ask to help. If you know someone working in events or production, ask if you can shadow. What's the worst they can say? No? I mean, they're probably happy to have some company or have someone that's excited in what they do. Offer to coil cables, load gear, sit quietly in the corner and just observe. If they're anything like me, they'll appreciate someone showing some curiosity without also breaking their DMX chain. Also, internships are worth exploring. You can learn a lot in a brief summer internship. I'm sure there are companies around here, production companies, theaters, again, the churches, that would love to have an intern. Someone who's exploring, someone that's going to talk the talk and talk the education, talk the process. And then finally, for you student technicians, set one summer goal. Just one. Could be as simple as relabel my toolkit. Or you want something to do inside that's, behind the screen, I get that. How about make a playlist of walk-in music, depending on show genre, Or memorize what all the buttons on the board do. So you're the sound op, and you've always wondered what the lighting op does, and they look like they're just running off of a giant keyboard, because they are, and there's like 4 faders on the thing. What does all that do? Get the manual and learn what they do. Or look up a YouTube video. That brings me to another story of one of the guys I used to work with. He was a lighting designer, and he was probably the most talented overall well-rounded technician I had worked with in quite a long time. If there was anything that needed to be done or to streamline or make things simpler, this guy would figure out how to do it. Not because he was a genius or better than anybody else, but because he leveraged the tools that were at his disposal to figure things out. This guy would learn everything from YouTube and put it into practice. Now, not everyone can do that. I get that. Not everyone can watch a YouTube video, follow it verbatim, and it works. It doesn't. I'm one of those people. I can follow the steps and it just doesn't work. But this guy, he would do it. And we were like, hey, John, we need some help here. We need to figure out how to do this. He's like, okay, I got you. And he would. He would figure it out every time. So I got sidetracked there. So set one summer goal. Just pick one thing that moves you forward. So, educators and directors, this is your time too in the summer, right? It's why we have this job, or why you guys have this job. Some of us still work 365 days a year, but so let's shift gears a little bit. My fellow directors, educators, I like to feel like I walk alongside you in this mission. So I see you. You survived another year of impossible expectations, late nights, questionable cables, and 2 kids quitting crew the week of the show. And now you're thinking, cool, I have 3 months to catch up on 5 years of sleep. And yes, you should. But also, what if this summer was a reboot, not a collapse? So, number 1, educators and directors, stay lightly engaged. You don't need to plan next year's shows right now, but showing up for your kids at a summer production, huge. Answering one email, writing down one new idea, or even just attending something theater related, it keeps the connection alive. But I just want to back up again. Show up for your kids at a summer production, because they're probably all doing it. There's theater in the park. There's the minor theaters in town that they're getting their toes wet, their ears wet. Whatever the case may be. But you're actors. We'll get to the tech kids later, but you're actors. They're out there spreading their wings because they actually think, like a lot of the athletes in the school think, they're going to be professional. I'm going to go on Broadway. In fact, I just had a conversation with a couple of kids in the green room of a production that were absolutely convinced that they're going to Broadway. Didn't have the heart to tell them. Maybe so, but most likely not. But show up for them. Give them that encouragement because you know what? We don't know. They might. And how cool would that be, right? Seeing one of your kids blossom to the ultimate of ultimates? Gosh. Stay lightly engaged. Number 2, educators and directors. Professional development on your terms. Not the PD that your school makes you go, not the in-service days, not the conference that the school makes you go to, but things that you want to do that enhance what you want. I mean, your fine arts, you know what the school thinks already. They're not going to send you to some frou-frou, fluffy fine arts conference. You're probably going to have to do that on your own. So save up for it. But if you can't, take a workshop. There's plenty of those. Watch a virtual session. Scroll through YouTube like I told the kids to do. Maybe read that book about educational theater that's been collecting dust on your bookshelf. Was just in a director's office the other day wrapping up a summer production, and I saw a couple of books like that sitting on a shelf, buried under a bunch of crap. Now's the time you do it. Or do what one director I know is doing. They're pursuing a master's degree through summer school and showing up to help strike a summer show. That wasn't even his kids, wasn't even his school, it's just in his theater. That right there, my friends, is absolute hero behavior. He's a young man, and I cannot wait to see what he becomes over the next decade. He's got it. He knows where it's at. And then, during the summer, guys, organize and reflect. That's your third bullet point. Number 3, organize and reflect. Label the bins, create a cue sheet template, write your own director's notes to future you. Ask, what worked this year? What burned me out? Summer is where you learn from the chaos, not just survive it. All the other teachers are going to go into their rooms, a couple weeks early and start getting them prepped for the new school year. I'm not saying you need to do that, but go in there and just reconnect with your room. Reconnect with your space. Get some things organized, because I promise you it was left a hot mess at the end of the year. And if you're like the poor director in the high school that I get to hang around at, there was a community theater academy that was in there crashing your space. So go in there and make sure everything's still where it needs to be. And hey, if I know you, if you know me, and I live in your district, call me. I'll come help you out. It's what I live for. Now, this section of our episode is about culture building. It starts in the off season. It is actually my smallest bullet point in my notes. But in my heart, it's probably the biggest thing here. And probably where we might park for a little bit. We might not. I don't know. Like I said, I have bullet points. I'm going off notes. I'm flying by the seat of my pants on this episode. Because I know it can be a lot, and I wasn't going to write everything down because I would spend more time writing stuff down than just getting it out for you guys to hear. So that's what we're doing here. Culture building starts in the off season. One of the biggest myths in school theater is that everything starts with the first rehearsal. It doesn't. It doesn't. It starts with what we do when no one's watching. And let me just take a seat here. Let me dial it back a minute. And let me just address all of the fine arts educators that might just be happening to listen in. And theater directors, students that are still here listening. If you have a fine arts person in your life that you feel will benefit from this next segment, send it their way. Tell them to, hey, listen to it. Give them a timestamp. Just say, hey, listen at this point here. Listen to this. This is for you. Culture starts in the quiet, in the off season. When a student tech watches a video just because they want to be better. When a director checks in with a crew kid over summer break. When we say, you matter, even when the curtain's closed. That's the kind of theater I want to help build. That's the kind of fine arts programs I want to help build, that I want to be a part of in some way. I believe the word here would be inclusivity. Maybe not in the way or the politically charged way that we're hearing that word used, but it's real. Everyone's included in the arts. The arts are for everyone. The arts touch everyone. There's not a soul on this planet, save one person that I might know. Apologize for dry humor. But there's not a person on this planet that is not affected in some way by the fine arts. Now, most of us, when we wake up in the morning, we have this horrible sounding alarm clock thing on our phones. Or just a horrible sounding alarm clock. But there was a period of my life where everyone woke up to music. That o'clock radio. They woke up to music. Now people are using the Calm app and things like that, and they're going to sleep to music. There's music for everything. I believe music can cure anything that's going on in our heart. It's like medicine, but it taps in directly to your brain. Culture is a part of that. Let me go to a couple of those points. When a student that is one of your technicians watches a video just because they want to be better, they're not going to tell you about it. They're just going to do it. But if they do, engage. Take interest. Don't think that it's just some obnoxious kid feeding you information, data dumping on you about their newest obsession. Listen to them. You might learn something. Now, as their mentor, as their educator, you can help them refine that data dumping. You can help them learn how to process it with other people that may want to process it with them, instead of just bombarding people and actually becoming that kid that everyone talks about that never stops talking about tech. You can help refine that behavior. But engage with them. Be excited with them. It encourages them to explore further. Now, this one for you theater directors. When a director checks in with a crew kid over summer break, you might see them at the store. You might see them on another production, refining their craft over the summer. Talk to them. Let them know that you see them. That is the thing that plagues most of these tech kids the most, is they don't feel seen. They certainly don't feel heard, because you got mentors like me in the background telling them to be quiet. One of the first things I tell these kids is, we don't want people to know we exist. If we do our job right, we don't. But that's for the audience, guys. Not for the directors, not for the cast, not for the ancillary staff that's helping with this production. We want to be noticed. We want people to know we're there. We want to feel important too. And when you reach out to a kid during the summer break and you say something to them, they realize in that moment that they do matter, that you did see them. Heck, you might even tell them, hey, you matter to me. And maybe some of you already do, but that's not the impression that I get. You matter even when the curtain's closed. All you fine arts teachers need to take this approach with your kids. They understand, they may not understand on the surface, but they understand on some level that the things that they do are connecting with people in a deeper level than just some conversation. You know? They understand that their fine art connects at a soul level. And I need you, directors, educators, to connect with your pupils on that level. I really do believe that the kids that come up in the fine arts are the changers in this world. They are the difference makers. They shape our culture. And we all know that culture could use a little reshaping right now. It starts in the quiet. It's the little things you do. It's the bringing the cast and the crew together in the theater. It's shattering that boundary that they're different, that they're separate. I have so much information going through my head right now that I can't remember if I brought this up, but I'm going to bring it up again anyway. And this may have been in a post I made, but I just helped wrap a show. Okay? They had a cast party. Now, my kid is in the cast. I was also the parent that was there for strike because I was striking sound. And my wife took the other kid home. So it became my job to take kid to the wrap party. I didn't want to go. I am not a social person. But I went anyway. I went to show my face. And you know what? I was the only crew person there. And it made me remember, it made me realize how it was back in the day. That crew party was always different. It was someplace else. Why? Because we never felt like we fit in. We didn't feel like we could go hang out with the popular kids that were in the cast. That has got to stop. We have to be unified. These last few productions I've done with this same community theater, they always do at bows, they do their bow, and then they usher their hands up to the tech booth. They usher their hands to the side, to the wings. The stage crew pops their heads out and they wave. To some people, they feel that might be recognition enough. But it's not. You may give us your tech bow, but does it matter to the cast, really? I don't know. I feel like it's just emotion we go through. That's what I feel. I wish all of tech and all of stage crew were at this wrap party. We didn't do anything exciting. We just hung out and ate cheese fries and ice cream. But where were those kids? Did they just go home? Like, oh, it's done. I can go to bed now. No. I guarantee you they want to be included in that. And they're not. Not because they're told they can't. It's because they're led to believe that they can't. That's the impression that we have somehow created in all of these groups. And this is where it starts to unfold. This is where we start to eliminate that boundary. That's what I want to help you guys do. The culture starts in the off season. Bringing everyone together for the pre-production meetings. Introducing the tech to the cast and the cast to the tech. Encouraging them to be friends, that they're not separate. It is not us versus them. That we are just as important behind the curtain as they are in front of the curtain and under the lights. It is time to build a culture where the tech kids are recognized too. Everybody. The musicians, the tech kids, Alien Brainwave. I just remember the last high school production I did. There was an orchestra pit. Nobody recognized them. Nobody. They're important too. It's time we all come together for the sake of the production, for the sake of the arts, because we are the difference makers in this world. So here's your challenge, wherever you are. If you're a student, pick one thing from this episode and try it this week. If you're a director, send a message to one of your tech kids and just say, hey, I'm proud of you. If you're a parent or a pro, help them find opportunities. Offer mentorship. Cheer them on. We're building something here. Not just better shows, but better systems, better support, and better spaces for tech kids to grow. Thanks for listening. I'm Mike, and this is Soundstage EDU. Let's raise the bar together.